are as individual as the person you are. What I normally tell people, and this is kind of a framework that helps people wrap their minds around choosing the right business school, but what I normally tell people is to begin thinking about an MBA like this. If you could pick the perfect job at the perfect company 5 years from today, knowing what you know right now, what would that be? And then start doing a little bit of homework to find out if that's really the kind of job that you want. That means, looking at, the type of work that you have to do, looking at the lifestyle, both within the company that you're interested in, and let's say you want to be an investment banker, but you don't want to work 90 hours a week or whatever. Make sure that it's a lifestyle match as well. And then once you settle in on the type of work that you want to do, start working your way backwards. So let's say that you figured out what that perfect company is and that perfect job is. Talk to people who have that kind of job, preferably in that company, and find out where they recruit people. And that should actually narrow your search down pretty easily, because if a particular company recruits at 5 or 6 MBA programs, you know that you want to put those 5 or 6 MBA programs on your list of schools to research. But make it a very logical process. So you want to work your way backwards, and then once you have, let's say, a list of schools that you're contemplating because they provide you with a logical path to the type of work that you want to do, then start doing your research on those schools. Find out whether the lifestyle and culture of that school is going to be appropriate for you. The makeup of the student body, the type of teaching and instruction that they do at that school, the facilities. Once you get really serious and have a short list of 3 or 4 schools, make sure you visit if you can. Now, if you're in India and let's say that you're interested in schools in Europe or the United States, that's a pretty big investment. But talk to alumni from those schools and so on, so that you do the type of research that will help you make a good decision. And what I normally tell people in the United States is that the tuition for an MBA program is about $70,000 at most schools. If you were going to buy a $70,000 Jaguar, would you buy it without taking it for a test drive? Well, you want to do the type of research that will help you make a good decision. So work your way backwards. Yeah.
I guess for Indians, being Indian, what I would recommend that first you need to see what is your pocket depth, right? How much you can afford. At the other end, like as doctor mentioned, you need to really see where you really want to go and whether that career change can be offered at that school or not, right? Say for example, you're working in production industry and you're thinking to move into consulting, or for that matter strategy, or for that matter HR or any other area. You have to talk to alumni, you have to talk to school, you have to visit school and you have to talk to them and find out whether that kind of career change is possible in that school or not. Right? Once you feel that yes, this school fits into my pocket, what kind of financial aid that school is offering? Do they have enough scholarship? Right? Because under current market scenario, you really need to see what is the ROI of your investment, right? Whether that 100K investment is worth or not. Probably you can start your own company over here in India, right? In 100K. Right? So it is doing an MBA is doing a business, right? You have to really see as an entrepreneur that if I put this money in some place, what kind of investment I'm going to get, right? So these are the few things you really need to keep in your mind.
Just to add to what my colleague said, I would encourage you to really think about this from your own perspective. This is your education. So choose the school, the program that's going to best suit you, and you will get the most out of that education, and that will give you the tools to go forward. There are lots of different opinions out there as to what would work, but as my colleagues have started to say, look around and look at where you want to be in a few years and what you think is going to be the best. In the U.S., we do encourage students to shop around, and looking at a number of different programs you'll see we all have different ways of delivering a similar product. And each methodology is going to appeal to someone a little differently. So keep yourself front and center in that decision and think about where you're going to get the most out of your time, effort, money that you're going to spend on this product.
I think that's a really solid thought about. Basically, you're going to be weighing up the number of things, the way the program's taught, how much it costs, the quality, the rankings I know might be something that comes into that. But you're going to have to weigh all those up. And there will be a place that is right for you, but you're going to have to do your research to make sure that that fit is the best fit possible. And it will probably extend beyond just which school, but to which country, because that is also going to be a consideration if you're thinking of leaving your home country or staying in your home country. Both have benefits, and that needs to be fed into the equation as well.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the next question. The benefits of a 1 versus a 2-year program and the overall ROI on doing an MBA.
I'm going to assume that when you're looking at MBA program, you were looking at what the content of the program is and what you're going to, the knowledge that you're going to acquire through that time as you go through it. When you're looking at the difference in the 1 year, the 18-month, the 2-year program, you're going to be looking at, first off, what is the content of the program? And you may find that there's a lot of similarities in what the MBA is. The difference is going to be how you go about learning this information and how is the school going to guide you through this. You may want to look at where your chances are to customize the program, where your opportunities are to add something to it, or is this a set program that's going to get you through in a very structured fashion? Are you going to be with the same students? Again, these are all questions that you want to look at and you'll see where the differences in our programs are. Again, you're going to look for the one that's going to be the best match for what you want. And again, we're all MBA programs. We're giving you a graduate level business education, but there's different ways that you can present that. That's one of the things you may want to be talking to the schools about and looking at is how we feel the best way to expose you to this level of knowledge that you're going to have. And I'm going to defer on the return on investment question to some of my colleagues to fill in on their perspective.
We actually have both when you're in a 2-year program. And when I'm counseling students, a couple of things come to mind right off the bat is when you're looking at 1 year versus 2 year in the U.S. specifically, there is an expectation. For instance, if you are contemplating a career or functional change, let's say that you're changing industries or function, going from marketing to finance or vice versa, that getting an internship can be very important in making that transition. So part of your investment has to focus on whether or not you're going to be able to make a good transition from one to the other. In the United States, just kind of the way things work is that an internship can be the way that you get a permanent offer after your 2 years are up. However, if you're not thinking about making that type of a change, in our case, a lot of times we'll counsel people to go ahead and think about getting a 1 year MBA because, when you're looking at return on investment, you actually pay less in tuition because you're not in school as long, and your opportunity costs drop because you're not taking yourself out of the workforce for 2 years, you're taking yourself out of the workforce for only a year, and you start making your post-MBA salary a year earlier. So, in a lot of ways that can look very good, when you're figuring out ROI. But you have to look at the whole picture and look at what your goals are for getting the MBA and what you're going to do with the MBA to see which option is going to fit for you.
Yeah, Dr. rightly said, like the 1 year MBA